Hello and welcome. We are coming to you live from the headquarters of Outlook in New Delhi. And today I am Ruben Banerjee, the editor of Outlook magazine. And I am joined by my colleagues, Satish Padmanabhan, the executive editor to my right. On my left is Giridhar Jha, the senior editor and our resident film critic. And we are also joined by Deepak Sharma, who is our art director. And today we are here to discuss about a very thought-provoking cover for our latest issue, which is #MeMom, why is Bollywood silent? Now across the country, globe, post Harvey Weinstein, we have this Me Too movement which is gathering in momentum. But somehow something that has always struck me and amazed me is that Bollywood, which is one of the biggest film industries in the world, is silent. It's a given fact that sexual exploitation in the tinsel town in India is very all-pervasive, is rampant, but somehow no one seems to speak. And so we decided that we must take up this issue and women must speak out. So basically we are trying to encourage survivors to speak. And our cover, which I think you will find it very engaging and thought-provoking. So go and get the latest Outlook issue, which should be available on the stands any moment now. And we are here to discuss why we decided to run this cover. Satish, what do you think? Like editorially, it was a very sound call by us that we decided on this cover?
I think, as you said, it's an open secret that sexual exploitation in Bollywood has always been there. In fact, the cover image that we are running is from 1951. So it's I mean, you can imagine how it must have been over the years. But at the same time, one can also understand how difficult it is for the women to come out and speak out, because the patriarchy is so entrenched. It's the studio bosses, the filmmakers, the producers, the financiers. It's a men's club. It's as Satya Saran notes there's a company column with a cover story. It is almost impossible for the women in India to sort of speak out. But now there is, we hope that there is a change. There are younger actresses coming out, who are not, the studio system itself is like kind of getting a little dismantled, and there are, very brave, progressive young filmmakers as well as women actors, who are very powerful now. So it's an attempt to urge them now to at least speak out, as it is happening in Bollywood. And as Giridhar, who's just won, in fact, the national award for best critic in films, who's been following the industry for so long, he would probably tell us how entrenched this, this exploitation is.
Yeah, it has always been there. In the history of Hindi cinema, last 105 years. If you exclude the first 2 decades, casting couch has always existed. Why we did this cover now is that after this Me Too movement of Hollywood, we thought that the new progressive generation of Bollywood actors and actresses who are completely different from their predecessors, they would come out and speak up, which in the last 6-7 months hasn't happened. So we wanted to do a stock taking of sorts, why they are not coming up when they are so enlightened, so empowered. We thought they would all, some of the actresses of course have come up and spoken out. But as a collective, Bollywood as a fraternity is still fighting shy of talking about.
But as you were
while we carry on, sorry to interrupt, while we carry on, I just want to let the viewers know that you can write in with your comments, questions, and our esteemed panel will try and answer them. The questions have started coming in, and one, Joseph Renjus, is writing to us saying, does Bollywood ever speak out against anything? That's a very pertinent point, I thought.
Yeah, and we are all hoping that that day will come then when they will all speak up collectively against this menace. Casting couch is like a monster which has existed in the backyard of Bollywood, but nobody has gone out and tamed it. We think that the post in this generation, which we call the generation of millennial cinegoers, post-liberalization, the last 25 years of Bollywood is completely different from the 75 years of Bollywood we have had. So we think that a day will come when they will all rise to a man or to a woman to speak out against this menace.
How difficult was it for you to do this, put this cover together?
It was, I thought, I had been reading or I had been watching many of the young stars who have spoken out. Not, as I said, collectively, but individually there have been some voices. actresses like Radhika Apte, Swara Bhaskar, actors like Ranveer Singh, Ayushmann Khurrana, they have all spoken out in their individual capacity. But we expected some kind of movement which will throw light on why this menace has existed all these years. But when I personally contacted many of the stars, none of them came forward. None of them was willing to speak up. This is what intrigued me. We thought that Bollywood has undergone a lot of changes. There has been a paradigm shift in the last 2 decades or so. But stars are still, the big stars who are not shy of speaking on any social issues. They speak of, whether it's a rape of Malviya or rape of the Jammu Kashmir Kathua girl, they have an opinion, they are active on social media, they speak on these social issues a lot. When it comes to looking into their own industry, talking about casting couch and all, they all chose to keep mum and exclude themselves. This is what intrigued me. So getting voices from the industry was the biggest difficulty that I got.
At the same time, even in Hollywood, though the Me Too movement has been around now it started in 2017, it's really taken them a long time also to come out and speak, it's like any other movement. It's like, somebody triggers something and it could just sort of become big. There is a chance. So, let's hope that, the cover gives acts as a catalyst, let's say, if possible. If it's not taking too much, making too much out of our cover, but if it provokes a thought, if it urges people to come out, that's the idea really.
And the idea of, if I might highlight this, like we are going on the cover, we have #MeMom. It's basically we have taken off from #MeToo. While #MeToo is trending all over the worldwide, what you have in Bollywood and India is a stony silence. So we decided Me Mom captures that spirit.
If I may just add one thing in this, the hashtag is Me Mom, but the idea is not to portray the women as putting the onus on them to it's not to make them seem as some sort of silent spectators. It's actually to urge them really to speak out, at least now.
Yeah. Deepak, what kind of challenge did you face in putting together this cover design?
In fact, Ruben, this is such a grim issue. It's not a news, not a politics. So we just find it quite difficult to, zero in on one cover. So first we designed this cover, and then we came out with a new picture. Since this has more shock value, so we thought of running this cover.
And it portrays the industry indirectly.
Yeah. So it's a very old issue.
And this photograph is from 1951, a screen test being conducted in 1951.
So be realistic to the readers. That's why we.
So did you also keep the sensibilities in mind, like that we shouldn't be outraging or be insensitive to anyone, the survivors?
That's why we not running this issue cover, so that the reader should get the reality it seems. No doubt this picture is around for a while, but putting on the cover is more shock value for the reader.
Again, as we were saying, this cover, we had an editorial discussion, and there was this slight sort of a hesitancy that are we putting the onus
on the woman,
on the women, rather than the men who are really the culprits. So we sort of, and anyway, as Deepak was pointing out, that cover also is more direct. It is straight away. It gives the idea of the industry.
So both the covers look great.
Yeah.
I thought of running two covers, one for South, one for North, as Outlook is, want to do out of the box. But
though viewers, listeners, and readers are welcome to sort of vote if.
Of course. This picture conveys what has been going on in the industry.
They can say if anybody thinks this is better.
Also, why should we be hopeful about that women will come out in the Bollywood? That, as you said, the cases against Harvey Weinstein goes back to 1992,
yes.
say about 25, 26 years. Yes. When he was doing all this, He could not have imagined in his wildest dreams that 25 years later he would be handcuffed and taken to court.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there is always hope that all the perpetrators of crime in Bollywood, they will also be brought to
So
court.
you are Giridhar, you are hopeful, you are saying that Bollywood will also witness a Me Too moment.
Of course, because Bollywood of 2018 has certainly changed. It's still undergoing. Of course, it cannot happen overnight. But you know, gender gap is bridging. More and more women directors are coming up. Some of the women directors are among the top these days. So I'm hopeful that day is not far when Bollywood women will come out and speak about not only exploitation of themselves. Many of them may not have had their own experience,
Yeah.
but they will speak out on behalf of all those faceless women who have undergone this kind
In
of.
fact, it is so heartening actually that just now, the film directed by a woman, which is women-centric, Razi, has just broken the 100 crore
Yes,
mark, which is considered some kind of a ceiling.
The whole idea of this cover is that we want gender equality, right? Bollywood included.
Absolutely.
Now, but then we have, like apart from Giridhar's cover story, which I thought that he has done marvelously well, we have also carried a few columns, like Satya Saran, the ex-editor of Femina,
Yes.
and then Nandita
Very
Das,
powerful
a
one.
celebrated actress. Now, both these columns are very thought-provoking and very engaging. But going by, I fully agree with what Satya Saran agrees, and the impression I got that from her piece is that nothing possibly is going to change. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it's so male-dominated.
Yeah, it's so male-dominated. But as Nandita counters in her column that it took Khan, where 82 women actually sort of walked together hand in hand asking for equality, and their slogan I think is 50-50 by 2020. That is at least half the people represented should be women. So that has happened in Khan, this year. So I mean, I think as I would go with Giridhar that this new generation of filmmakers and actors, now even producers, there are women producers, would not take it lying down anymore. It would not, it would break the patriarchy.
No, but then you also had an interview with Sri Reddy, that actress in Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad, who's very recently was in the news for that topless protest. She was protesting against sexual exploitation by the producers and all. And I thought that interview was very, very good in the sense like she actually nailed the real reason behind this. She says that the industry there is controlled by 3 producers. So if you raise your voice against them, you had it, because the offers will dry up, nobody will ever sign you up. So it's a kind of a dead end.
That's true. I mean,
And that must also be the case in Bollywood, right?
yeah, of course. I mean, remarkable about Sri Reddy is that she's the first girl to have come up and actually named somebody who has exploited her. So maybe other actresses who are undergoing the same experience may take a leaf out of a book and start naming the way Hollywood actresses have done. I would like to mention one thing also, that some developments are also taking place in India also. For instance, the Malayalam movie industry.
Yes.
We are carrying a story from there also. There, women actresses have formed a collective kind of, and they are speaking up. They are speaking up against exploitation and all. So
No.
gradually it will happen.
I think, but here we'll have to also exercise some caution, because these naming and shaming can actually go out of hand, because when the mob mentality takes over, like even innocents could be named, and so we need to exercise caution. And of course, the rule of law implies that the accused, whoever it may be, gets a fair hearing and fair justice. So we need to draw a line. We should not go overboard.
Of course, the due process has to be followed. But here, that is a second stage actually. That goes without saying really. I mean though I agree, it can get a bit out of hand.
I thought that Nandita Das's column was also very interesting. Like the way Western filmmakers and actresses have come together, and it has taken them years.
Yeah.
And she particularly mentions that in Cannes, the red carpet, only 20% of women directors have ever walked that red carpet.
Yeah.
So that was
It's some startling number.
Number.
Yeah, it's really, really minuscule in world cinema. Which is supposed to represent sort of the best from the world.
So. What is the way forward, you think? Like, how can gender equality be ensured in Bollywood?
I mean, the new generation of actors and actresses, the way they are conducting themselves, the way they are. I mean, Bollywood has undergone a change, lot in terms of content, in terms of the art of storytelling, in terms of the profile of the people who are coming. The new generation is much more educated, much more enlightened. They are more aware of their rights. They are not going to take things lying down. So they are aware of their rights. So maybe casting couch may not exist in future the way it has all these years.
And we thought that this story on Bollywood is very, very legitimate because it impacts everyone. Millions of Indians look towards Bollywood and they have a connect with that industry there. We draw our creative sustenance from Bollywood. So it impacts everyone.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not that it's happening somewhere in an island and we are not bothered.
As in fact the Me Too movement in Hollywood has breached so many, it's gone to so many areas. Because icons like Meryl Streep and Salma Hayek and the big names talking about it, it really should sort of motivate youngsters to have, give them courage.
And I thought that these actors and actresses are also seen as role models in the society. So if someone really speaks out, I think that sets a very positive precedent, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So anyway, I think we'll wind up now. Do pick up our latest issue of Outlook, which I think is a marvelous issue and with a great thought-provoking cover. Thank you. See you again next time.